Do you know if you've created yourself a job or do you have a business? Amortization, bit of a difficult one to say that. What's the difference between a business and a job? Now, I didn't really know what the difference is when I was younger. I just thought if you had a business, you had this business, this entity that you could sell or expand or do whatever you want. But actually, as I've gone along my entrepreneurial journey, I've realised that there are actually two really big fundamental differences between businesses and ones that get bought by bigger companies and ones that are difficult. So the trap, if you like, of most entrepreneurs is they end up just basically creating themselves a job. So if we take your example of your, I don't know, your coffee shop owner, if you like, they go, right, I'm going to set up a coffee shop business. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shop on the high street, I'm going to put up a nice thing, we're going to call it Joe's Coffee or something like that, and I'm going to serve coffee and we're going to be open 9 till 5 and we get all the commuters, and they come up with a big business plan and the rest of it, and they're really good at that, and then they get a couple of members of staff in and the rest of it. But the business is totally reliant upon Joe, if you like, in this fictitious example, being there in that coffee shop, running it day to day. They are the marketing person, they're the accounts person, they're the person that opens up in the morning, they run the payroll, they do the tax return, they do everything for the business. So if they leave, then there is no coffee shop anymore. And that's where they've just created themselves a profitable job. They might be doing quite well. They might go, well, I left my job, let's say they worked at Costa or Starbucks, other chains available. And they might go, well, I earned, I don't know, 30 grand being the head manager at Starbucks or something like that. Now I'm on 50 grand a year. Well, that's fine. They're doing better than they did. And that's okay for some people and they're quite happy with that. But generally, those sort of people I find are under quite a lot of immense pressure. They're often not actually earning more than they wanted to do. They might even, if they totted up all their hours, they might even be earning less than minimum wage in a lot of cases. And a lot of stress that goes with that because they've got all these things on their shoulders. Now, some people cope with stress differently, so, you know, that's not always a factor that you can add in. But all they have actually done is created themselves a job, because if they leave, then the business collapses. They don't have a profitable enterprise to sell on. Versus a business, which is basically somewhere where you've created systems, processes, a team of management, and it doesn't rely upon you being in the business day to day. I always say, if you can go away for probably somewhere in the region to a month to 2 months and have very little involvement with your business, maybe a bit of a light touching base with your key members of staff, you've kind of created a business that is possibly sellable or investable to other people. We fall foul of this all the time, and so it is a good business model, but buying businesses or making acquisitions of companies that are owner reliant and totally reliant upon the owner being in it, it's a much harder way to scale your business than actually what private equity companies do, which is buy businesses that have got literally a management team involved and the shareholders aren't really involved in the day-to-day running. And I bet you if you go onto any of the websites that deal with acquisitions or selling of businesses, some of the questions, if you went to go and sell your business, one of them will be, do the shareholders work in the business? Because that makes the business far more valuable, because you're buying an entity that actually operates without you doing it. Otherwise, you're just buying yourself a job. So if I say Joe's going to retire, and Danny, who sits behind the camera here, says, I want to run a coffee shop and the rest of it, and she buys into that, she now can't do whatever it was she was doing before because she has to run that coffee shop. The problem with that is she can't run 2 jobs at the same time. She needs a management team in, and if the manager comes in that she employs and that business is run by the manager, it's now not going to make any money. So a business is a profitable enterprise that relies upon you it can rely upon you not being in it. It's not reliant upon you being in it, essentially, if that makes sense. So yeah, those are the key differences, but there are steps. We all have to start off on our entrepreneurial journey. So the key steps are like step one, which would be you might do your startup and you'll do your business there, and then you'll lead all the way up into step three. So what we're going to do in a bit is we're going to go to the magic whiteboard, and I'm going to explain the sort of key steps along the process. So you go from maybe your kind of startup like your Joe's Coffee, and you might expand that to a coffee chain, or I'm not going to give you too many tips because we'll go to the whiteboard in a minute, but basically how you would go from your one coffee shop where you're stuck in it and you've just created yourself a nice profitable job, all the way to the point where you've actually created yourself a business which is maybe more sellable. It has EBITDA figures which are attracted to or attractable to outside investors, and it's not reliant upon you being in the business. So you can go off and retire, the new owners can come in, and that's that. If you think about things like when big mergers happen, so I don't know, Asda in the UK is owned by Walmart, American company. Hopefully the audience have heard of both of those supermarkets. Walmart own Asda. They don't think to themselves, oh, that's brilliant. When we buy Asda, we're going to have to go and stack the shelves or be inside the stores operating them. And it's because Asda has a massive team of management who manage that process for the supermarket chain in the UK. So, they bought into this business knowing they don't have to run it. What their job is now to make it more profitable, or maybe streamline and cut some costs and the rest of it. But they're not stuck in the job operating it. Obviously that's a big massive example, but there are lots of examples. A lot of people will be happy with their coffee shop, and that's quite content, and I'm not knocking those people at all, and that is a very nice lifestyle, and it probably pays your mortgage very well, and there's stresses, ups and downs, and the excitement of running one coffee shop. But there are people that need to get to this position, which is the final stage, where you might be in a position where you could sell your business or you're not required in it. Okay, so I just wanted to give some examples of how you might go from your coffee shop owner to kind of entrepreneur or having your liquidity day. And I appreciate it's not for everybody. Some people would be happy with just their coffee shop. But if this is you and you want to go from just a coffee shop owner to maybe having a chain or applying this to your business, then hopefully these steps are there. So day one, you are your coffee shop owner. So you've got your coffee shop, and you basically set up, you get the premise and the rest of it. And at that moment in time, you are literally everybody in that business. You're the accountant, you're the marketeer, you're the person wiping the tables, making the coffee, putting the money in the bank or whatever on the till or something like that. You are literally everything. You're the handyman, you're the cleaner, the whole lot. So your first goal is to get to a point where you can get that business into the next stage, which I refer to as really where you'll starting to get a managerial structure in and delegate some of those things. So step two is basically getting some staff in. So you need those weekend staff, those kids or whatever it is that are going to come in and help you. You need to train up someone on the barista, maybe look to get a management team and the rest of it, do more social media presence, do lots of planning as well. So this is the point where you might start to do some planning. So you'd be thinking to yourself, right, what is my actual plan? How many staff am I going to have? How am I going to do my social media and the rest of it? You don't outsource any of it at this stage because you probably haven't got the money to do staff and outsource your social media and all the rest of the things. So you're still very much in the business at this stage. And then the next stage is to get to the point where you are more back office. So you're not front of house. You're not really dealing with the customers anymore. Whatever. We're using a coffee shop at this example. But stage three is when you are no longer on the shop floor, essentially. Shop floor, F for floor. And you are gone from the shop floor. So we'll use a red pen here because we're just do something else. So at this moment, you're off the shop floor. Your back office, you're looking at social media, you're looking at networking, you're looking at your P&L, your profit and loss, you're looking at your EBITDA, all those sort of figures. So at this moment in time, you want to be looking at P&L, EBITDA, and really starting to drill down into the numbers so you can get to a point where you're sustained not being on the shop floor. A lot of people get to this point and they're literally like, oh, I was on the shop floor, now I'm off of it, and now I'm back on again, and now Susan's on holiday, I'm back here again, or I lost some staff, or the P&L didn't really give me what I wanted to do. So yeah, you need to basically maintain this position here. So if you can do that for a period of time, and that's it, you've actually got to the point where you're no longer on the shop floor. So you've gone from coffee shop owner to getting some staff in to shop floor. And you may, at this moment in time, right here, we'll draw a green line, at this moment in time, at this point here, you are probably earning no more, maybe even less than minimum wage, and certainly no more or even less than you earned when you're up here. So actually, this is the biggest leap for people to get over, and it's really, really difficult to move away from I'm everything to getting to the point where you're really looking at your EBITDA and your profit and loss, and that you're starting to not be the business development manager on the shop floor serving coffee, covering the holiday fee. You might have to occasionally get down out of your office and come and help and the rest of it, but it shouldn't be a sustained or regular thing to do. So once you've got to that stage, now you want to start looking at what are you going to do with this money. Obviously you've got money to live off of, but presumably you've lived off this low wage right up to this point in time. So now you're looking at taking your cash reserves, so cash that you might be your profit if you like, that at that point you've got some cash and some profit in the till. So what are you going to do? You're going to invest it, and if you're going to invest it into the business, you're either then going to make a complete mindset change at this moment in time. Now, there's no right or wrong for everybody, and I can't advise you on your individual state at this moment in time, but you could take that money and do what a lot of people do, would be pay down their mortgage, pay off some debts, I don't know, maybe go on a nice holiday, that sort of thing, and take it easy. And again, this is another sticking point where people just go, I'll just take the cash profit and that's it. But the real smart person will start to think, okay, what do I need to, or who do I need to employ to get rid of me, or where do I use this money to how to grow the business? So then you can start making purchases of other businesses. So buy or open more shops. Yeah. So the next stage is we're going to start looking at buying and opening more shops. And what kind of shops and stuff are we going to look at? We're not going to look at the ones that are owner occupied, where you're going to have to get heavily involved in the business, because that's going to take you blooming ages. We want the ones that are around here, where they're starting to make some money, they're looking at the EBITDA, and you can just replace this person and then you can start making some money. And at that point, once you've got, say, like 6, 7, 8 shops or something, you've really got yourself a nice profitable enterprise that you can actually look at either selling or merging with another coffee shop chain, or maybe just sitting on the profits and using them to do something else. So you might say, what we're going to do is we're going to start making our own coffee now. So we're going to go down a very similar road. We're going to get vertical integration. And then you have got what they call lots and lots of different opportunities. So you can make your mind up at that stage. So stage 6 here is when you have reached the top of the pyramid, if you like. So the bottom part of it here is where most people are. We're stuck in this stage, and then this middle section up the top here, that is around here where you're making the cash. So we're talking like stage 4 here, whereas this is stages 1 to 3, and then stage 5 and 6 is up here. where you really got to a point where you're actually now being like an investor and actually growing your business. So that's really, if you take your coffee shop example, that's how you go from coffee shop owner all the way to the point where you're effectively being an investor, or you're driving the growth of your business. Yes, I totally appreciate in the comments, some people say, well, I just wanted to open a coffee shop and have a nice lifestyle. Well, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But that is not the type of business that you buy, because that person needs to be replaced. You can buy those, but you just have to be wary that you've got to start at this point, and it's going to be inherently difficult for you to get from here to here when you've already got all of this stuff going on. So you need a really good management team. And throughout this whole journey, you're probably never going to earn an awful lot more than what you earned at the start, because you're going to be reinvesting that capital into the business all the time. A lot of people at this point here will buy to let property or whatever. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I've done that a lot and so on. But you'll see from some of the various other podcasts and advice out there that maybe at this point it's good to invest some of that money back into your business rather than into other ventures. So I hope this has been a really, really good strategy or example of how you go from one to another, and it's a kind of quick fire round. Obviously there's lots of different stages. Different businesses will have different things as well. So our example is obviously a coffee shop, but there will be different stages for different businesses, but the fundamentals are here. So I hope you really enjoyed that. If you want to get on the YouTube podcast or on the channel or whatever, or do any collaboration with me, or book yourself on for one of our podcasts in the podcast studio, just email info@matthewcox.biz. There'll be a form for you to fill in there with a load of simple questions, and then we'll try and work through all of your goal setting and issues together. It's a free podcast. You can use all the stuff on your social media. All you need to do is give away about an hour of your time, and then that will hopefully elevate your brand, if nothing less. But hopefully you'll take a whole load of stuff away from it. It'll be really useful to you and our wider audience. Talking about the wider audience, please don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button, comment below. Maybe you think I've missed a step out of here. Maybe you can't see this, it's too small. I don't know, we can probably just zoom in on it for a second. Anything that you want to ask, please do in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow us on all the social media platforms as normal. And until next time, I will say, see you later.